Spring is starting at the Home Depot, and we're bringing you low prices guaranteed so you can wake up your yard this season. Shape up your lawn with top brand outdoor power tools like this Ryobi 40-volt mower with up to 50 minutes of runtime. Bring in a splash of color with spring blooms and fresh plants from the Home Depot Garden Center. Then refresh your garden beds and keep them clear of weeds with Vigoro mulch, 3 bags for $10. Start your spring with low prices guaranteed only at the Home Depot. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
Good sleep is everything. That's why Ollie's Science Back Support is made with a blend of melatonin and L-theanine for both kiddos and grown-ups. So when your mind won't switch off, you've got something that can help. Your racing thoughts and restless nights won't stand a chance. Find Ollie Sleep Solutions for the whole family at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
His parents were friendly, very friendly with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law lived with me for 14 years.
Okay. And over an hour and a half, which represents $37?
Hour and a half.
You guys are here?
This is the plaintiff, Andrew Dugan. He says he's known the defendant's husband since he was 4 years old, and not in a million years did he think they'd end up in court. He did some work for the lady and her husband, painting and that kind of thing, and they shorted him money. He was paid by the hour. He's still owed for 90 minutes of work, and friend or not, he wants his $287 here and now. This is the defendant, Robin Seabour. She says she kept a log of the amount of hours the plaintiff worked, and the guy's rounding every half hour he worked up to an hour, and that's where the discrepancy lies. The guy also showed up for work 15 minutes late every day, and he's trying to cheat them on the amount of time he worked. And she's not about to allow him to get away with it. No way, no how, no siree, Bob. She's accused of not watching the clock correctly.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Andrew Dugan.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing Robin and Tom Seabour. You have power of attorney to represent. Mr. Seabour is not here?
Yes.
Right. For $287, $200 lost wages for 1 day of work, $50 that you paid your helper, and $37, which is the original dispute, over 90 minutes of work. Tell me what's going on.
Robin asked me to do some work at her house.
And how do you two know each other?
Family friend. I've known her since I was like 4 years old. I've done work at her house numerous times before, never had a problem. She asked me to do some work on her house. I said, okay, I'll bill you for my hours and materials.
How much were you going to be billing her by the hour?
$25 an hour.
Okay. So what happens?
So when her husband went to pay me, he says, I'm leaving, I need to pay you. He says, I have you marked down for 34 and a half hours, I believe it was. And I said, well, I have myself marked down for 36. He's like, oh, well, I marked down every time you came into my house and left. And I was like, well, did you take into account that I was driving around before and after I left here for materials and tools and whatnot? And at that point, he just started getting very irate with me. And one thing led to another. We bantered back and forth. He said, get the out of my house. I said, okay.
Wait. Are these your parents?
No, this is my girlfriend's mother and stepfather.
Mother and stepfather. All right. And how is it you say that you two knew each other?
His parents were friendly, very friendly with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law lived with me for 14 years.
Okay. And over an hour and a half, which represents $37?
Hour and a half.
You guys are here?
Honestly, I'm not a rich man. I can't afford to wash my hands of a day's work because her husband was
early in that day, he wants to pay you before he goes out of town, and there's an hour and a half discrepancy.
Yes.
And then it gets heated, and then it gets ugly,
and
then it's get off my property, and then there's no work that day.
Get the out of my house and get your stuff. Also, I paid a helper $50 for the day, for the half an hour he helped me clear my tools out of the house. So I promised the kid that I'd have him work for the day. I had to give him at least half a day's wage.
Who's the one keeping tabs of his hours at the house?
Well, both of us. He would every day, my husband was home more than I was during this time, and he would ask Andrew every day, when did you come and when did you leave? And then I have my calendar, and he would mark it on the calendar.
Who would?
My husband would. So he marked down the hours. The very first day, there was a discussion about lunch. Do we pay him for lunch or not? And we're not under the idea that we'd pay him for his lunch hour.
Lunch isn't the discrepancy, though. What's the discrepancy? According to you, the discrepancy is whether you went beforehand to pick up tools, or no, you just think he miscounted, period.
You
just think he purely miscounted and isn't taking into account these times.
Her husband was logging my hours that I was at his house. I was driving around, getting materials.
When were you
and
driving
tools.
around getting materials? Before getting there?
Before getting there in the morning and after work. Even on my lunch. I take lunch, I go to Home Depot, get stuff for their house, go get a slice of pizza and go back to work.
On your husband's count, was he paying him for lunch?
Yes, we were paying for lunch.
And you expected them to pay you for lunch?
Yes.
And we did, and there was a discussion the first day, what did you work, Andrew? Andrew said, well, I went to Home Depot first, so we paid him from 10 to when he left. The discrepancy of the hour and a half occurred that Andrew on 3 days left at 4:30.
And
from
he was
10 to 4:30.
So what are you saying, that he was counting it as working till 5?
Correct.
He would round a half hour to an hour?
He discussed that. He said that when if I work a half an hour, I will charge you for a full hour.
Did that discussion take place?
I don't remember exactly what I said. I said probably a million things. You know how it is in the heat of passion. I was freaking out, and I was just.
So yes, you did say if I work half an hour, I charge you an hour?
I may have said something like that, but I didn't mean it like that.
Why would that be okay?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So how much is the least amount of money that you would bother to go to small claims court, file a lawsuit?
$150.
$150. Okay, that's kind of odd. What do you think?
I'd say about $200.
$200. But this was a $37 case, by the way.
$200.
$200. Would you file for $100?
$40 because a guy in 5th grade still owes me that much and he hasn't paid me yet.
But you don't hold grudges.
No, I do not.
No. Going inside the courtroom.
If I'm at your house for 7.5 hours working, and I leave after like 7 hours and 36 minutes, am I going to bill you for 7.5 hours or 8 hours?
I don't know. I'd just tell you to stay until the 8 hours and then pay you 8. Or I wouldn't necessarily expect you to cheat me a half hour every day.
I don't think I was cheating a half hour any day. I kept track of what hours I was there. These are family friends. Are they gonna if I say I worked 36 hours because I was driving around and he's got me marked down for 34.5 hours, I never thought in a million years that somebody over $37 would
Well, apparently
freak out to that
both of
level.
you freak out over $37.
I'm a very hard worker, Your Honor, and for somebody to stiff me out.
Right, so you have your reasons to freak out, but at the end of the day, isn't it just amazing? Over $37, I'm horrified. Do your parents know you're here?
Yes.
Do the two parents that were friends?
No, it was my mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law?
Right. She passed away recently, but she loved you.
Yeah, you better fix that last one. Were you there, by the way, when they had their fight?
No. Judge Milley, I just want to say one last thing, is that we allowed him to do things. One day he did leave to bid on another job, and we paid him during that time. It wasn't like we were trying to stick him, but if he worked till 4:30, that was when he worked till.
So what are you suing for? You're suing for the $37, plus the $50 that you paid your helper for that day. What time was it when the discussion takes place?
It was about 20 after 9, maybe 9:30.
So what did you do that day?
That day when I left her house,
Yeah.
I cleaned up all my tools. It took me about an hour to get my stuff out of there, maybe 45 minutes. I went to the bank, I cashed a check to make sure he didn't cancel the check on me. I drove all the way back and dropped my helper off, and that's it.
How do you figure amount lost for lost wages for 1 day of work, $200?
Because that's what I would have made if I had worked at her house or anywhere else that day that I should have been working. 8 hours, $25 times 8.
Did you leave at 4:30 3 times?
I don't have the exact number.
So you said you
yes.
kept the track of the numbers. Did you keep track of the when you walked in and when you walked out, or you didn't keep track of when? Or you just assumed it would be an 8-hour day every day?
No, I mean, I fluctuated. Like, I had it marked down a couple days. I worked 6 or 7 hours. I marked that down.
Can I see where you marked it down?
I don't have it. I don't have it with me. I had
because you didn't think it would come up.
I had it written down on a piece of paper, and I have it. I know exactly how many hours I worked. I've been thinking about this since 2 months ago when this happened.
You know, If I had been in your shoes, I might say, you know what? I got this guy about to bust a vein because he's nuts. Maybe I got my helper here anyway. I'd rather make the $200 for today. Let me just let this one slide, and from now on, we both sign something. Because you keep saying you don't know her husband, but what is your excuse? Stop, listen to me. You are jobless at the moment. You have nowhere else to go. You have $50 invested in the guy next to you. Maybe this is one of those times when you just say, wow, let's be real careful next week about signing things about the hours so we don't have any more problem, and then just keep working and finish the job there. You know, especially if you need the money, instead of you blowing, let it, the cost, kind of a customer's always right. Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, you know what? We'll both sign something when I come and go from now on, so neither one of us feel cheated. And then that's it.
Your Honor, at the time of the discussion, I was just freaking. I mean, I couldn't fathom the fact that he was refusing to pay me $37, and they were getting a huge discount on a price that anybody else would have given him, and he's got the audacity to short me out of $37, and I was just I couldn't believe it. Like if it was a stranger, I wouldn't have said anything. I would have just sucked it up. But the fact that it was somebody I knew since I was 4 years old, it really hurt me. I don't know what else to say. It made me freak out. I don't know what else to say.
Priceless. I love small claims. I love small claims. As a lawyer, I did death penalty litigation. As a judge, I handled murders and robberies and lawsuits worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have never enjoyed anything as much as I enjoy you folks. And do you know why? Because it's not the $37. It's the principle. It's the principle. I just love it, How much did you pay to file this case?
$21, I believe.
You paid $21? I once had somebody pay $87 for a $5 case. I almost kissed him. Is this a great country or what?
Fantastic.
I'm going to rule in your favor, but not in the amount that you want. You didn't work that day. You had a disagreement with your employer. I'm not going to order $200 paid to you. I'm also not going to order the $50 paid to you for the same reason, because you had a disagreement with your employer at the beginning of the day, and he can fire you at will. I am going to order these people to pay you the $37. Okay? And your filing fee. That is my verdict.
Thank you.
You just won $37. What are you going to do now?
Oh, man, I think I'm going to go play the lottery. I feel lucky.
Well, this was all about the principle. You fought hard for this. It means a lot. And that argument, the emotion you tried to describe, why was it so meaningful for you?
Because I'm a hard worker, and for somebody to basically try to rip me off for $37 just made me angry.
Since you were 4 years old, you've been friends with this guy?
No, I wouldn't say friends. I've known him since I was 4 years old.
And so over this $37, that's all over now?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I could.
You'd rather have the $37 than
I'd
that
much
friend.
rather have the $37.
You got it.
All right, this way, guys.
All right, and so that brings us to you. And what's your feeling on what he just got away with there? That $37 on you.
That's fine. I feel badly for that it came to this, but
Why not just pay it and avoid this?
I wasn't there. My husband made the decision, and we did pay him for the hours worked. And
He's probably watching right now. What do you want to say to him? He's not here, but he's watching.
I didn't win everything, Tom.
Harvey?
Bottom line here is you cannot get money for time off work when you go to court. You should factor that in when you think about suing. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Fandango. People say fans are too distracted these days, but the truth is, when a great movie hits the screen, you show up. You stay glued, invested, part of the story. And without fans like you, there'd be no cinema magic, no shared moments. So head to Fandango.com to get tickets, stream, or rent or buy top movies and series. Fandango loves fans.
Protein is now at Starbucks, and it's never tasted so good. You can add protein cold foam to your favorite drink or try one of our new protein lattes or matcha. Try it today at Starbucks.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Doherty. He says the defendant, a family friend, did some work on a classic 1965 Ford Falcon he owns, and he's sorry to say the guy botched the job. In fact, one could call it robbery, because the defendant didn't complete the work and is now refusing to return some of his money. He has no other choice, family friend or not, but to sue for the $1,500 he's owed. This is the defendant, James Hilditch. He says the plaintiff's complaint regarding his 1965 Ford Falcon has to do with the paint job, not the work he performed. He did introduce the two, knows the painter was frustrated with the plaintiff because the guy owed him money, but beyond that, he has nothing to do with it and is shocked he's the one being sued today. He's accused of being a drip.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant did work on his Ford Falcon and did an awful job, but the defendant says he did the job. It's a case of, have you sued over a Ford lately?
Thank you, Douglas. Michael Doherty?
Yes.
You are suing James Hilditch?
Correct.
For $1,500 that you want him to return to you, that you paid him in order to restore your car, and according to you, he did not do it. Tell me what is going on.
Jim was a family friend, and we became acquaintances, and he said he'd done body work before, and he was pretty good.
He was a friend, and then you downgraded him to an acquaintance?
Well, after what he did to me, yes.
Okay.
So Jim was in a band, so my son was into music, started following Jim, and they became friends, and they found out he was into cars, and said, oh yeah, I want to take a look at it, maybe I can do it cheaper than somebody else.
And what is it? What did the car need? What kind of car are we talking about?
It's a 65 Falcon convertible.
Okay.
Need minimal body work.
Can I see the contract that the two of you entered into in order to, let me
No.
see the contract.
There wasn't one, it was just like an agreement between friends.
Okay. It was what?
Like an agreement between friends.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Not so good.
Right, that's where they work out. All right, no emails, no texts, nothing that would tell me what the actual original contract was for?
No.
What do you mean by minimal body work? Define what you expected him to fix.
It was rust underneath the primer.
Okay.
So you had to sand it down, re-primer it, and get it ready for paint.
And he was gonna charge you how much for that?
It would be under $3,000.
You didn't know how much he was gonna charge you?
Not at the time. And he said he would need $1,200 for supplies and to get started on it.
Well, what if he later said, okay, that'll be $9,000? So you just
No,
gave him the car and gave him $1,200 and didn't
To
know
get
what
ready.
the end game was gonna be?
No.
All right, so you give him $1,200 and what do you buy with the $1,200?
Everything from the sandpaper, primer, tape, masking paper, everything, and the paint for the car too.
Okay,
Which is
and
right
so
here.
what kind of body work were you supposed to do according to you?
It's, I know he's saying it's minor, it's definitely more than minor work.
Okay,
I
what
do
is
have
it?
pictures of it, if you need to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Okay.
it, but tell me what work,
They're right
I
here.
can't get anybody to answer the question. Tell me what work, what
Like
body
Mike-
work you were gonna
Like
do.
Mike said, the car was in primer for 20 years.
Right?
Had to be taken right down to steel.
Okay, so actually you are saying the same thing, that the body work that needed doing is to sand the car. All right, and did you
Yeah.
do all this?
I got the car prepped for paint aside from one section that was under the passenger side right front fender that needed metal repair. And I just didn't have a MIG welder at my house that was strong enough to make the contact.
So did you tell him that?
Yeah, we had talked about it. The rest of the stuff would have gotten finished up over at Phil's because Phil would come by and look at the car.
Wait,
after
who's
the fact.
Phil?
Phil's the painter right here.
Oh.
That came with Mike.
Okay. Go
And he had
on.
come by and looked at it because all I could do, I'm doing this in my home, Your Honor.
So what were you gonna charge him for this?
We had never even really set a price. I said, this is what I needed for
How
the
do you
things.
people like prevent yourselves from being run over by trucks when you cross the street?
So what I was going to do is I took the rest of my regular work time off and was just going to pretty much work on the Falcon during the winter. That was going to be the deal.
Except for that, according to him, the deal, which we can't look at because it's not in writing, is that it would be done by Christmas, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you give him $1,200 for parts, and according to you, you buy parts with that $1,200.
Correct.
When do you drop the car off? Do you remember?
I dropped it off November,
it's a drastic difference between
October
June.
of 2011.
November or October? You don't remember when?
No.
It was October, Your Honor. It was the last week of October. And the car stayed with me through until the spring because being one person doing this as a hobby is not going to be done by Christmas.
Okay, so now in the spring, come on up. Yeah, what's your name?
Philip. Master Mario?
Philip what?
Master Mateo?
Mastro Mateo. Mr. Mastro Mateo, how did you get hired by him to do the paint? You were always going to use him for the actual paint, right?
No.
Oh. Who was going to paint the thing? Hold on one second. Who was going to paint the thing?
He was.
Oh, he was going to both prep it
He
and...
referred, he brought the car over to him. I didn't know this gentleman before.
What you're saying is he was always going to sub the painting to him.
Right.
Okay. Had you ever worked together before?
No, we had not.
All right. So the car was ready and prepped, right?
No. He was going to help him finish the body work there.
Okay.
Because like you said, he can only do so much in his own personal garage.
Okay.
It has no lighting.
And then
it's
what
small.
happened? So do the three of you arrange for that to happen, or what?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay,
Me
and then,
Mike drove
so
the
tell me
car
about
over.
that.
Correct.
I brought it over there. I met Phil, and what I understand is Jim was supposed to bring him paint and drop off some money, and he never did.
Okay, talk to me. What was your agreement with the defendant?
With Jim, I met Jim through one of my customers. I looked at the car at Jim's house and gave him a rough idea on the cost. They brought the car over on a Saturday afternoon.
How much did you tell him you would charge?
A couple thousand.
Okay.
Jim said, I'll be back Monday. We'll set this thing up on payment, blah, 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 and what we need to do. We'll talk about this.
Because when did it become apparent to you that there was more prep work required?
As soon as you put some sandpaper on and find out that the primer that they used on it was a lacquer-based primer, which we don't use anymore. We use a 2K urethane primer.
Who's we? Who put a lacquer-based primer? Did you prime it?
I did, Your Honor.
What'd you prime it with?
The chroma base that I had gotten with the package that came with the high-performance white paint that Mike wanted.
The what kind?
Before I brought the car to Phil, he had changed his mind on the color.
The
Correct.
plaintiff had changed his mind on the color?
Correct. He originally wanted a high-performance modern white and then decided to go to a correct Wimbledon white from the era.
Okay.
He
Where's
changed
the
his
paint, though? According to you, you never even got the paint.
I never saw it.
Never saw the paint?
Never saw it.
Never got
What
a
I
slip.
tried to
Where's
do,
the
Your Honor,
paint?
what I tried to do, Your Honor, was to try and bring it back to my supplier to see if they could maybe get some money back from Mike.
So you brought it back to the supplier has it and claims they haven't sold it.
Correct.
And they gave you no money back, even though they took it back.
No, they gave me a really good deal
Can I
on
see the
prices, you
paperwork
can see.
on that?
I didn't have a receipt from that. Your Honor.
Oh.
May I?
Yes, Mr. Master
I asked
Mateo.
Jim, I said, he's telling the truth about the Wimbledon white to a high-performance white. So I said to him, listen, even if there is going to be a color change between a Wimbledon white and a high-performance white, which is brighter and yellower, bring me that paint. I will put that down as a base on the car first,
That
and
was
I'll only
never
have to buy
discussed.
2 quarts of paint instead of 4 quarts of paint. Never saw it. I never heard it. There was no more conversation with Jim and I since that point of the $1,000 to drop off and the paint to start the job.
It was never
2 weeks went
1,000,
by.
I'm sorry.
Never saw the kid. I called him numerous times. Went to his house. I went to the glove compartment of the vehicle, got Mike's address, and called Mike directly. He came down, laid it out to him. This is what we need to do. Sand off all this primer because there's all rust underneath the car. Redo this here. Etch prime it on bare steel. Urethane prime the car and paint it.
What primer did he use that he shouldn't have?
I think it was a DuPont-based primer. It's a lacquer-based primer.
And you can't use a lacquer-based primer?
We haven't used lacquer-based primer in this field since 1981. I've been doing this job since I was 16 years old. I'm 57 years old.
But so why did they sell him a lacquer primer?
You can buy it here and there as a hobbyist. Professionals do not use it.
What's Chroma Clear?
That's the clear coat for the high-performance white, Your Honor.
Where's the primer? ETGH.
Never heard the number.
Well, why are we
Etching?
saying that it's etch?
That's not etching primer. ETGS, that's not etching
Etch. Is that a lacquer-based primer?
I believe the one that they gave me was lacquer, yes.
And you're saying that hasn't been used in the industry since '81?
They took the lead content out of it because of all the EPA stuff and everything else.
Right.
In the lacquer-based primers.
And what did you want to respond to that?
That's completely inaccurate, and he never came to my house either.
Come back to the microphone and tell me your response to that.
I've been to Jim's house twice. First time to look at the vehicle. A week and a half into the vehicle, but he never showed up like he was supposed to. I went to his house. I knocked on his door after he never returned the phone calls to myself or my employee. He was supposed to bring me $1,000 and the paint.
What did you end up doing? Did you just have to order more paint?
Oh, yes.
Did you end up painting the car?
Yes, I did. Very happy.
Okay. Are you satisfied with his work?
Yes.
Okay. Who's that gentleman who keeps raising his hand who's here?
John Reardon. I'm a friend of Jim's, and while this was all going on, my car sat outside of Jim's waiting for Mike to get his car out of there. I saw the work getting done. I saw it getting primed. I saw it getting sand, and I saw the stuff go back.
Yeah, but what do you mean the stuff go back?
It got put in a car and brought to Phil's.
Yeah.
The paint is a special order paint. You can't bring it back. That's the problem. As soon
Well,
as
then just give it to the owner.
you know,
I was trying to help Mike out. We're
Well, I
friends. was just trying to
understand,
get
but then now it's
the
come
money
to
back.
fruition.
You
It's
helped me
not
out.
a week
That's why
later,
we're
it's
here.
a year later.
So, close friend of your family says, God, I want a job. Would you hire me? Would you hire him?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
Too emotionally complicated.
Well, that's kind of an interesting answer. Who hasn't spoken? What do you think?
No, I wouldn't.
Why?
Because I don't want to ruin the friendship.
And ma'am?
No, I wouldn't.
Because?
Because it might get complicated.
It's hard to discipline somebody who's really close, right?
Right.
There you go. Going inside the courtroom.
Do you understand what the problem is, or you don't get it?
I understand how it
The
looks.
problem is you have to either help him successfully or give it to him because you can't help him. But you can't be in limbo where you've got his money for the paint and you don't have paint. That leads me to believe what they believe, which is that you pocketed it. Because I see that you at one point bought it.
And it's not $1,000 from that paint, by the way, Your Honor. The
No,
quote
you're right.
Right there is exactly what I told them I would bring once I had the money handed back to me from the supplier. Not $1,000.
Now it's like $400.
Yeah, exactly.
But then the question becomes, the supplies that you did buy with his $1,200, did he get a value for it? The guy who you have picked as the painter, you picked him, which is kind of significant,
Correct.
says that you did a miserable job and that it had to be done over. How much did you end up having to pay him to prep it for painting, and how much?
Total job was $3,200, said and finished.
I would normally find out, okay, well, he agreed to do the whole thing for you for $2,500, and then I just do some simple math and figure out how much more it cost you, and that's your measure of damages. Why can't I do that in this case? Because you two don't even have an agreement about how much it was going to cost.
Right.
So I have an algebraic equation that's impossible to fulfill, except for one number, 3,200. That's the only number I have. Everything else I got to guess at. Well done, gentlemen. What's this about scuff plates and stone guards? Okay, what is a stone guard?
It's a filler panel between the front bumper and the grill, the lower grill panel.
What are scuff plates?
When you open the door, the plates that are right on the bottom hold the carpeting down.
Did you ever communicate with him, hey, these two things are missing?
Yes.
When?
Right after I brought it to Phil's.
And what did he say?
He says they should be at Phil's. They should be at the body shop.
Okay, can you prove that they're worth what you're saying?
I don't have receipt. Used parts, you don't get receipt. It's a cash deal.
Well, you get a receipt for the cash. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you get a receipt for giving cash to somebody. I mean, okay, my friend, here's what's going to happen.
Okay.
This was fun, but I'm done. I'm going to order the defendant to return to you $1,200 because the $1,200 represents the following: the paint that hasn't been turned into you when it belongs to you, and the supplies to do a priming job that you basically had to pay him to do over again. I find his testimony particularly compelling for the simple reason that not only do I find him believable, but also he's the guy who you picked. And I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of the $1,200. On the other two issues that you're suing for, I am not going to rule in your favor because I think with all the shuffling back and forth and you don't have proof of what you paid for, I just don't know. I'm not sure what to do with that. So $1,200 verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Judge.
Your Honor.
All right, so here comes the defendant after losing this case. How did it go in the courtroom, you think, for you?
I think she judged with what she had for information in front of her that way as far as it went, but the other extenuating circumstances that made me go with it the way I did.
What was it like to see the guy you chose on the other side of the courtroom testifying against you?
Didn't bother me one bit.
Didn't bother you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Head right around the corner right here. And let's talk to the plaintiff coming out here. Finally, your car is all
Yes, it is.
finished up,
It
right?
looks good, yes.
Looks good? You like your car?
Yes, I do. After
Right.
12 years. Looks good.
12 years?
12 years.
Well, why did this deal go bad? Why did it go wrong with him?
He's just a liar, and he got caught up in his own lies, and, he started out as a favor, but...
Family friend, right?
Right.
Still a family friend?
No, I haven't talked to him since.
Okay. No. Harvey, what do you got?
I got to tell you, especially when you're hiring a close friend or a relative, nail down the terms of the deal, of the job. The more of an ambiguity in the deal, the more chances are the relationship is going to blow up. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
K-pop demon hunters Haja Boy's breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
This is the plaintiff, Joy Asante. She says she rented a room in the defendant's apartment, and let's just say it became immediately apparent there were going to be bathroom usage problems. One of the bathrooms housed their large, smelly cat, and they wouldn't allow her to use the other bathroom unless she was showering. She felt like she was being treated unfairly, moved out, and is now suing for the $3,262.61 she's owed in rent. These are the defendants, Maria and Ira. They say the plaintiff consistently monopolized their private bathroom for 90 minutes at a time. They had to put a 30-minute limit on the use of that bathroom, but the plaintiff refused to comply. Besides, she had full use of the other bathroom at all times, and they don't owe the plaintiff a penny of the amount she's suing them for. They're accused of not potty training their tenant properly.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff rented from the defendants, and among the problems, big bathroom problems. The defendant says the plaintiff was a bathroom hog. It's the case of the smell ain't swell.
Okay, Joy Asante?
Yes.
You are suing Maria and Ira. You've asked me to be referred to just as Maria and Ira, your former landlords, for $3,262.61 in refunds that you want because, according to you, they made it unlivable by their rules and regulations.
Correct.
Tell me what happened.
I found the room on Craigslist. I spoke to Maria. I agreed to meet her.
So you meet her, you see the place, you like it, and what kind of arrangement do you strike with her?
I arranged to move in October 1st, 2011.
And is it a year-long lease, a 6-month lease, month-to-month? What is it?
The term was up to me, according to her.
Okay, so did you sign anything?
Yes.
Okay, let me see what you signed. All right, so you move in October, and does it go well for a while?
It goes well until March of 2012. I don't have a personal computer in the room, so I started noticing middle of March that they were sending me emails on Saturday when I was in the apartment and don't have access to a computer.
Okay.
They were complaining about the bathroom.
Okay, it just says 140. It doesn't say every what. So I assume that was 140 a week?
That was weekly.
Okay. And then you had to give 7 days notice. So really, this is like a week-to-week tenancy. Okay.
Correct.
So they start sending you emails, which is odd because they're a few feet away.
Exactly.
What are we talking about here? Is this a home that you live in? Is this an apartment?
It's an apartment we live in, yes.
Okay, do you lease it or do you own it?
We lease it.
Okay, so you lease it and then you're subleasing a room
Yes.
to her?
Yes.
Do you have authority to do that from your landlord?
My wife had been doing it before we got married. Recently, I looked at the original lease and saw, no, we shouldn't be doing this. So we're in the process of emptying the apartment.
Okay. All right. Now, what went wrong? They sent you an email saying what to you?
They sent me an email saying now that there are 5 people living in the apartment.
Oh, goodness. How many bedrooms are in this place?
3.
Okay. So they tell you now that there's 5 people living here.
Right. There was a limitation placed on using the bathroom that had the shower.
Okay. Now there's 2 bathrooms, but only one of them has a shower?
Only one has a shower.
So everybody has to share the same shower?
Yes.
Okay.
Only one has a shower, and when I was shown the space, they had a large cat that they were littering in the second bathroom. So it really was.
What do you mean they were littering? You mean the cat's litter was in there?
Cat litter, so that it would emit the stench of the cat.
So nobody was using the cat was using that bathroom. Nobody else was using that bathroom?
Yes, everybody was using it.
Except her.
Yes, and we never heard any complaints about the cat litter from anybody, including the plaintiff.
All right. So go on. They tell you what?
That I have to start using the bathroom that they have the cat in with the cat feces and the cat urine.
And you say?
I tried to use that room as much as I could, but it was a horrible, I felt like I knew for sure I shouldn't be subjected to those kinds of conditions.
So did you say something?
I
Or
tried.
did you just go along to get along?
I went along to get along.
Okay. And so this happens when?
This happened March 20.
But you didn't move out until when?
I still haven't moved out.
Are you kidding me? You're still living there?
Yes.
I don't know that I've ever had a plaintiff and a defendant that were naked in the same shower together in front of me. You're still living there?
Yes.
And why haven't you evicted her?
We're in the process of doing that now. She's been served with a notice of termination.
So
Her
why
30
haven't you left? You have a week to week.
I've been looking for another space. I didn't realize that they were in the process of trying to remove me.
In August, they tell you, you need to, we're changing the terms. How are they changing the terms?
They were increasing the rent and they were limiting the term to a 6-month period.
Okay, so why didn't you leave?
I started looking for space, and then in October we had the hurricane, so it sort of put a stymie on my ability to
Okay.
go out and look for space.
I guess I'm kind of lost, though, because I'm not sure what you're asking. You have a week-to-week tenancy. You can leave at any time. Normally, when I have a litigant who says to me, I want out of this lease, they're telling me I want out of this lease because they have some legal obligation to stay there. You can just get up and go. Every 7 days, you could get up and go. And you don't. So why should I look at all the rent you've paid for the last year and say you're entitled to it back when you chose not to leave there? In other words, you need to persuade a judge that it was unlivable for you to get money back. And the best evidence that it's livable is that you continue to live there when you don't have to.
Well, what was unlivable were the conditions for the bathroom.
So if the tenant stays in the unit but complains, and then at the end says, I want my rent back, does the tenant get the rent back?
No.
Why?
Because he stayed in unlivable conditions.
Well, but suppose they're unlivable. If they are unlivable, can the landlord really get rent?
I would say the tenant should get their money back.
Because?
Because it's unlivable condition.
Fair enough, going inside the courtroom.
What was it you told her about the bathroom?
We told her that it came to our attention that she was consistently using the shower for an hour and a half.
What are you doing in there? The shower, not a bath. The shower, an hour and a half?
Yes, we can hear the shower because the bathroom is right on the other side of the wall from our bedroom. We hear the tub. We hear when it starts. We hear when it stops.
Were you taking an hour and a half?
I would take a long shower on the weekend because I
don't even want to stand that long. Like
I didn't really have access to do it during the week.
Okay, what else was she doing? What else was the problem?
The plaintiff was living with us, obviously, for several months, but she had an early schedule at work, we assumed, by her comings and goings. So she'd be showering like 4 or 5 in the morning. By March of 2012, it became clear to us that she was in there consistently for an hour and a half at a time.
So why don't you just talk to her instead of sending her an email?
Because by that time there was ill will.
Okay.
Prior to then, there was an instance where she stained our bathroom with her hair dye. We let her know that she needed to clean it. She did not clean it, which we took as a refusal, and my wife had to get on her knees and scrub it many times to get it out.
Okay.
Then a second time, the bathroom was stained with her hair dye. Same scenario. We asked her to clean it. She refused. And again, my wife had to spend time scrubbing it out. We were just not enjoying her tenancy.
Right. Why don't you just get rid of her then, since she has a week to week? Why didn't you just tell her you need to leave? Why doesn't anybody speak?
Well, first of all, we didn't realize, because of the way that the lease was, from a date to a date a year later, we didn't understand that.
What lease are you looking at? Because the lease I'm looking at doesn't have an end date, and it just says 7 days notice. Let me see if you're looking at something different. So Miss Asante, they make you take half-hour showers because you're sharing it with other people. And what other horrible conditions did they subject you to?
The cat in the bathroom.
Okay, because they told you that they wanted you to use that bathroom. And now eventually you got rid of the cat?
Correct.
Well, it's my son's.
Oh, okay, so he just took it. It's not that you got rid of the cat, it's that... Oh, yeah, see, yours has an end date, hers doesn't. All right, guys. All right, so now let me ask you a question. So the cat leaves sometime in the summer, and it's January and you're still there. So obviously, what is it you're suing for after the cat leaves?
They discontinued the cable, which was part of the original agreement.
And you agreed to pay $5 less, right?
I did that until October.
And then what happened?
In October, they said they were raising the rent, and I just gave them the full amount.
Why don't you just leave?
October is when we
October's when you had your
Hurricane
one-year
Sandy.
anniversary there. Right.
And so it became difficult.
Yeah, I understand. Here's the part you don't understand, Mrs. Sante. Let me explain to you how it works in the law. When you're a plaintiff, you're coming in here and you're saying, someone has done me wrong. Someone had an obligation to do something, didn't do it the way the law requires them to, and I have damages because of their abrogation of their duty. What exactly is the duty that you're accusing them of abrogating? What did they do? They raised your rent, which you have a perfect right to do. They could have done it sooner, and they didn't. They had a cat, which you knew. You could have moved out if you didn't like it, because you could move out every 7 days, and you didn't. They cut the cable. They told everybody because of the economic times we can't afford cable, and they offered to take $5 off of your rent, which
They
you took
didn't
advantage
offer.
of. Well, either way, you started paying $5 less, and you could have left if you didn't like it because you're not handcuffed there. You can go. You're on a week-to-week tenancy. So just under what legal theory do you think I'm going to look at them and say, pay this lady $3,000? What theory? You want to know what like unlivable conditions are? The electricity's cut off. There's no heat. There's bugs everywhere. Things like that. You're telling me about your shower has been reduced from an hour and a half to half an hour, and you want them to pay you $3,000? You got to spend a weekend at my house. No. Verdict for the defendants. I don't understand how it's taking this long for you to evict somebody on a week-to-week tenancy. But get your act together and do what you're supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
All right? Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff unable to collect on her lawsuit here, step right next to me and tell me what's your comment?
Very disappointing.
Yeah. Well, why didn't you leave if it was so bad as you described? Why did you stay?
Because you can't find rooms as readily as one
You can't
needs
find
to.
another room in the Bronx anywhere?
Well, I'll have to start looking more readily.
Yeah. You sure you're not a professional renter who tried to stretch it out for as long as she could?
Absolutely not.
No? All right.
Ma'am, if you would right this way, please.
All right, so step on in here and come on in here. Why are you shaking your head?
That woman's elevator does not go all the way to the top. She's very unstable, and maybe she takes medication. I don't know what her problem is.
What was the worst thing that happened? What was the worst bathroom confrontation? How bad did it get?
How much time do you have?
Just 10 seconds.
She wanted to call the police because I was in the bathroom. That's how drastic it got.
Came home one night, and my wife was in the bathroom, and she pounded on the door and said, I need to use this bathroom. I need to shower.
Right. I'm
If you're
calling
not
the
out
cops.
right away,
Calling
I'm
the
calling the
detectives.
cops.
So what'd you do?
I said, you have to wait.
Harvey?
There's an implied condition in almost every lease that a unit be free of health or safety hazards.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.